Booktube, and welcome to this, the first instalment of my bookshelf tour, or my library tour, and this is the before tour. Soon I'm going to be moving house, so I thought I'd show you the book situation at the moment, and then when we've moved and reorganised the books, I'll show you the situation in the new house. So yeah, for now I'll get right into it. First I'll just give you a quick overview of what's going on. So I'll turn around now, so I'll be behind the camera for most of these. So up above we have some decoration and some trays, and then some Stephen Donaldson up on top. So probably when I do it, there might be sections I kind of skim over, and that's just because they're books I don't read a lot of at the moment and won't have much to say about. But we'll start here with the fiction and just make our way through. I'll probably get about halfway through this shelf in this instalment, so I'll just move these out of the way. Now this Dorothy Parker and The Sea by Iris Murdoch and I think Smiller's Sense of Snow, or Miss Miller's Feelings for Snow, were brought up in recent book haul videos, and they're not really organised at the moment. But I'll start over here. Let's get some of these down. So we have, to begin with, some Faulkner, Go Down Moses, some sort of short stories. Then we have This Side of Paradise by F. Scott Fitzgerald, which I enjoyed. There'll be more Fitzgerald later, and I love everything I've read so far. We have Herland by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. I think she's more famous for the yellow wallpaper, and this is a kind of comedic utopian novel about a completely female society. Then here's The Blue Tent, relatively recent book from a Welsh author, and this is very mysterious, very slow and quiet, but yeah, unsettling in its own way. Yeah, really enjoyed this. It's by Richard Gwynne. And then another Welsh author, Tristan Hughes. This is Hummingbird. I think I brought this up recently too, and unfortunately I was a little underwhelmed by the end. Then that's Feet and Chains by Kate Roberts. I brought this up recently as well. A sort of rural Welsh community at the turn of the 20th century in the area of North Wales I grew up in, or thereabouts. Then we have Grief is the Thing with Feathers by Max Porter, which was okay, but again, a bit on the underwhelming side for me, really. I read this earlier this year. This is Ismail Kadare, The Traitor's Niche, about Albania during the Ottoman Empire, and it's very surreal and strange, and it took me until quite close to the end that it wasn't a sort of accurate portrayal of history, but was very just very surreal and fantastical. Then we have The Rings of Saturn by W.G. Sebald. This is the only Sebald I've read so far, but hopefully not the last. And then let's get a few more of these down. We have The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Nothing really to write home about, but you know, an enjoyable little story. But yeah, I don't think it's really worth the hype, to be honest. Although if you've read any books on alchemy, if you have any alchemy books that you'd recommend, please let me know. And then Shirley Jackson, We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I think there's some great writing in this book, and the way she builds tension in it, I think, is really wonderful. Leonora Carrington, The Hearing Trumpet. I've sort of explained my feelings for this novel in the past. I found it quite unsatisfying, to be honest, and just didn't get on well with her writing style, particularly in the second half of the book. Then we have Jorge Luis Borges' fictions, just great. I think it totally opened my mind to what the short story can do and what a short story can look like. and then Italo Calvino's Complete Cosmocomics. I haven't read this yet, but I think coming up in the next week for the Reading Europe 2021 challenge, my country Austria will be playing Italy soon, so if Italy beat them I might read some Calvino. And this is not fiction, but it's here anyway. This is Slouching Towards Bethlehem by Joan Didion. I haven't read this yet. Another book I haven't read yet is Knausgaard, Death in the Family. But yeah, I'm just going to see what I think of him at some point, but haven't had the chance to read him yet. And over here is The Metamorphosis. Again, I brought this up recently in a haul. And then the last of that stack is The History of Danish Dreams by Peter Hoyg, who wrote Miller's Sense of Snow. And this is a really great sort of surreal sort of family history book. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, but would have to read it again, I think, to get a few things straight in my head. Then we have our handful of Hemingway. Out of this, I've only read To Have and Have Not, The Old Man and the Sea, and The Sun Also Rises. So as you can see, there are a few there that I haven't read yet. But you know, I've enjoyed his writing, and yeah, I've got it there when I want it. There are a few more Hemingway books up here in the next stack, but first we have the Book of Disquiet by Fernando Pessoa, and yeah, again, I haven't read this yet, but hopefully will be something I read later this year, and I think I'll get on with it. And this is another Hemingway that I have read. This is For Whom the Bell Tolls, I guess a fairly famous book, and probably my favourite Hemingway book. Let's see, then a couple of Faulkner books. We have As I Lay Dying, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, I definitely prefer his novels to Go Down Moses, a book of short stories. And then Light in August, which is my favourite Faulkner so far, but I've only read 2 of his novels and 1 collection of short stories, so I have a lot more Faulkner to read. But yeah, and this is one of my favourite novels of all time. Okay, let's get another handful down. Right, let's see. More Hemingway. This is Farewell to Arms. Quite a cool cover. Yeah, quite enjoyed this. I don't know, maybe in the number 2 position for me for Hemingway novels. Then The Complete Kafka. Again, this came up recently. I'm slowly accumulating a lot of Kafka. Jean-Paul Sartre, Nausea. I read this for the first time this year and loved it. It was a Christmas present from my sister. Yeah, but I actually really enjoyed it, and yeah, I actually found it really funny. So yeah, love a bit of existentialism. Then we have John Steinbeck, East of Eden. I haven't read this yet, but I bought it because, let me get it, I read Ingenious Battle for uni and really enjoyed it. And before reading this, I had read Of Mice and Men at school, which I enjoyed, and then I tried to read The Grapes of Wrath, and just wasn't really in the mood for it, I suppose, when I was reading it, so I just put it down and kind of disregarded Steinbeck for a while. But then, yeah, this turned me right around, and so yeah, we'll see what I think of East of Eden, and maybe one day I'll give The Grapes of Wrath another go. Then some more Fitzgerald. This is The Beautiful and Damned. Yeah, I quite like this cover. It's quite cool, and yeah, another solid Fitzgerald book. I think for me they slowly rise as they go towards The Great Gatsby, but I haven't read anything he wrote after Gatsby yet. Then we have Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by Joyce, and yeah, it's okay. I'm still fairly ambivalent towards Joyce. There are some things about him that I love, other things about him that wind me up. But this is one of the few books I've read, if not the only book, that has actually given me a headache. About halfway through there's a sermon about hell, and I can remember reading that in the laundrette, waiting for my clothes to dry, and just reading that passage with a raging headache, and yeah, won't be forgetting that. Then we have Dubliners. Yeah, I quite enjoy Dubliners, and as Wordsworth classic editions go, I think that's quite a nice cover. Sometimes the covers aren't great, but you know, sometimes there's a few gems. And then Ulysses. So I was reading this recently, just earlier this month, and I will be rereading it, but I think I'll need another edition because the pages are falling out, or I can try to repair it. And then the last book for this instalment is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This also includes The Last Tycoon, which is his sort of unfinished novel, which I haven't read yet. But yeah, it's a lovely, posh looking edition that I found, I think, for only about £1 in a charity shop. So I was quite pleased with that. So there we go. That's the first edition of this little library tour, and I'm sure I'll be back soon as I tackle the rest of this shelf. But that's all for now. Hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in another video soon. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye bye.